This is meant to be a fun novel and I intend to enjoy it as such. In the author's own words, just sit and enjoy the nonsense. Dayo is a sea creature with PTSD that was given the mission to infiltrate Alpha, a human city underwater, to find the general's daughter. The reason? I don't know. The city is protected by powerful lasers that evaporates anything that comes close enough. With lots of patience, Darius waits for days, learning the patterns until he sees his opportunity to enter through a filtration system. And then we meet Anya, the daughter of the general herself, extremely watched by her father under the excuse of an accident that happened 10 years ago and left her deaf. Anya can still sense some sounds. They are just muffled and she cannot understand what others say. Reason why she has an android assistant that she places on her head, and this android will interpret what people say and paste it in a text form. But this can only happen if the clips of the person are clearly visible for her. She is attending a ball by a request of her father, but tired of the fakeness and playing good daughter, she escapes the party and hides outside in the pool area. Completely oblivious to her surroundings, she does not notice when Darius finds her and sneaks to her. He's attracted to her yellow hair that seems very soft like water. He noticed that she's not able to hear him, and after learning she is the general's daughter, he starts the hunt. In a game of prey and hunter, he removed the clip of her hair and hid waiting for her reaction. Anya, on the other hand, discards the strange situation as just accident. Unfortunately, the clip ends up at the bottom of the pool, and being one of the few possessions from her late mother, she can simply let it be there. She strips off her clothes, swimming for the objects. In the process, catching eye of a long fin. Following the tail, she makes eye contact with Dio, who is hiding in the pipe. She looks at him for some time, surprised of his presence, and is quick to swim back up, sensing the danger. And you would think that's the end of that encounter. But no! After the insistence of her translator robot, she goes back to the water to look some more. This time she even managed to touch him. And when she felt she was not able to hold more her breath, he grabs her hand and tosses her to the surface. A surprise help she was not expecting. Dias went back to his brother disoriented and on edge. He had fluttered for her, something he had done only 2 times before, just to be rejected. He was too big and unpredictable. Mating him would have been tough, and females prefer more maneuverable mates. He had given up, but he could not take Anya out of his mind, and so he makes a decision. He will prove himself a better provider, the best hunter. He'll bring her somewhere safe. Some days later, they have another encounter. This time is Anya's own bathroom. Even though she should be afraid, she is intrigued. She had been waiting for him. And now that she is seeing him on the surface, she is able to capture more details of him, especially those big muscles. But she learns something even more impressive. She is actually able to hear him. She does not understand but is capable of hearing his voice perfectly. Shocked by this discovery, she keeps asking him to talk some more, and he does, which means he can understand her. He left and came back with a chip that is designed to make her understand his species. But because of the accident, the place where that chip would have gone is not functional. But even without understanding his words, she deducts that he came for her, and with no hesitation, accepts going with him. He is confused, but is not going to deny the opportunity. Unfortunately, they are interrupted by the general, Anja's father, who came to warn her about the fugitive Anonym. That's all he cared about, appearances. Once the general leaves, she turns just to find the pool empty. She takes refuge in her room and proceeds to install the chip in her robot. Days later, she sees a crab at the bottom of her pool. She guesses that the Undying shouldn't be far and takes the decision of going on her own. She follows a trace of crabs through the pipes. And right when she was about to run out of air, Dios appeared with an oxygen mask and guides her out of the city, gently holding her hand and taking her deep into the ocean. Escaping the general ships that were sent in her rescue, they reach an air bubble for Anges to rest. It's an abandoned flood facility. With the help of a robot, they make it functional. Once she seems safe, Dio swims away to clear his mind. He's afraid of how fragile she is. Any wrong move and she will die. And he was good at killing those who are his allies. He sees those that have died because of him. Again, he's a little bit gone, seeing things and voices. Poor guy is traumatized. But surprisingly, he is taken out by the sea itself. Strong currents take him to some gutterfish, telling him to hunt for the acromos. Maybe to accept her? And even though he is complicated and don't want to make with her, he gives in this and hunts her fish. Back on the facility, he's caught off guard when he bumps into Anja's changing clothes. Ooh, some skin! Next day, they have a discussion. They finally present themselves to each other, and she proceeds to tell him about her own plans to destroy Alpha and her father, which she assumes is his interest too. Dios is surprised about her intentions, especially because he does not think she is capable of doing anything. She's too fragile! Of course, he is right, she is weak, but she has some assets under her sleeves. Technology. And others like her. There are others working on the destruction of the city, although it is a slow process. But now she has Dios, and a strong creature with lots of muscles. And since they both search for the same thing, he agrees to help. At night, Anya has a nightmare about the day she lost her hearing, which apparently was caused by herself. She's woken up by a gentle brush of her hair, and she asks Dios not to leave her and keep going. She ends on top of him on an attempt to make him more comfortable. They share a sweet moment where she tells him she does not think less of him because of the arm, and they spend the night learning sign language. Because he thought it was a beautiful language and it can be signed with just one arm. Continuing with the mating ritual, he keeps bringing her food. Yes, part of the mating ritual is hunting and gifts, and he had been doing kind of that, of course without telling her. This time he also came with oysters, and inside them, pearls, and Anja is amazed and happy. Mission accomplished. But nothing lasts forever, and one side of the facility floods, leaving her section unuseful, not heaters or oxygen. And the oxygen mask she used to get there is broken. She is now trapped in an air bubble with limited oxygen, and because she does not want to die with any regrets, she kisses Dios. Kissing is not natural for undines, but Dios finds himself enjoying this experience. After the moment is gone, he takes her into the water, telling her she was not going to die, because he has another surprise for her. Undines have a tentacle that can be used to connect themselves to other creatures and breathe for them. Quick side note, they didn't know the purpose of this tentacle until Dio's brother got himself a human mate and realized they could use it to help humans breathe underwater. He takes her to a dome where his brother are waiting. Bringing her here was the original plan. The dome is a miniature version of the Alpha City system. Inside, waiting for her, was a woman called Mira, the mate of one of Dio's brother. Dios is reluctant to leave her on her own. He's very attached to her, but Anja is apparently now the beast master. She assures him she is going to be okay and proceeds to make herself comfortable. Then comes time for planning. They all want the same thing, destroy the general, but things are not looking good. On the Anodan side, they were hoping the general would make a mistake based on his daughter's disappearance, but the general couldn't seem to care less about his daughter. And on Anja's side, the only plan she had with the other hackers' bodies broke apart. The idea was to send someone and break everything from within, but the person was killed and no one else wants to risk it anymore. Ace, a hacker friend of her, disconnected and Anya is left alone to figure out how to destroy her father. Weeks pass by and Anya feels lonely. Once a day, she sees Dios through the dome glass. They make eye contact and he always proceeds to leave. She starts to wonder if she was a mere task for him. Dios, on the other hand, is also feeling lonely and believes she does not feel the same way because he is always close to the dome and it seems he searched for her more than she searched for him. In regard to the plans about the general, things are stuck. She is pretty useless and feels like a burden. She and Mira talks. Anya shares her experience with Dios and they bond over the unnatural attraction to their respective undine. Back to Dios. To tell the truth, I got a little lost in this section of the book. In very general details, there are a group of creatures in the very deep of the ocean that have such a deep connection with the ocean that they can connect with memories. Like seers or oracles. They see the future, others' memories, and even more than one future. The multiverse. The important information here is that they show Dios a memory of one of them being experimented on by humans, and these creatures are demanding Dios more action. Dio has failed them before, losing his arm on the process, but the ocean is giving him another opportunity. Dios disappears after this encounter, leaving Angia anxious behind. She gets on the water with the intention of finding him, and girl, get your ass back up. You know how slow humans are at swimming? No one wants you here in the first place. Stop causing trouble. And the rest of the group thinks the same like me. They just don't say it and try to reason. Thankfully, Dios manages his way back home. And in an impulse, he comes out force and takes her away. He swims and swims until they get very far and he just embraces her, finding comfort on her touch. He then confessed all he wouldn't say before, how despite finding the Acromos ugly, he thinks she is beautiful, and he's afraid of hurting her. Her response is that she knows he won't hurt her. She was done suppressing whatever was going on between them. Once they return, Dios shared the memory of the experiments, and well, everyone is terrified of the knowledge. How long have they done this for? How many of their people have been missing instead of dead? Anya is shocked but not surprised her father would do that. In anger, she makes a decision. Maybe her people were not worth saving after all. Whoa. Calm down. Most people don't even know about the experiments. They could be all bad people, but her reasonings do not make sense. But she has taken her decision and shares a plan to blow the city completely. Much more effective. To do this, the only way was for her to go back in and activate the bomb herself. The plan had many risks, and she's expecting her father to realize she is there as soon as she steps back in the city. It's the only way. Oh, by the way, Dio got himself a robotic arm. Creation of Mira. Dios is not happy about this decision and reluctantly takes them both to the city tunnels. With a final heartbroken goodbye, she enters the dry-out tunnels. Once in her room, she waits for her father to appear. He comes through in complete rage and Anja starts her acting bit, as if she was just a spoiled teenager who had just run away. It took 1 week to get to the key of the arsenal room and another week until she saw the opportunity to escape her room. Once in the armory, she also found the experiment room. For anodyne bodies, 2 of those are still alive, and she can just leave them there. She changed the plans a little bit, setting the clocks for the bombs to 30 minutes and proceeds to break the water tanks. Back at the dome, Dios is watching everything helplessly. Before she had gone, they had connected her droid to one they have at the dome. This connection will help them see whatever Anya was seeing, to keep track of their situation. Once Dios realizes what Anya is going to do, he enters full panic mode. There is no time for her to escape in 30 minutes. She says her final goodbyes before severing the connection, and Dios rushes with the help of the sea to try reach for her on time. The Depth Riders do not harm her. She guides him through a ramp where her father disposes of the bodies, probably connecting to the sea. With an odd nod, the creature disappeared inside, as her father appeared through the door, visibly enraged. Turns out, he's not even the father! Her mother had never wanted to marry him. In fact, she was already taken. Anja's actual father died in the ocean, and her mother killed herself after being forced to be with the general. The general just wanted Anja as a symbol of beauty, as he did with his mother. Now she was more useful dead. He'll make sure of that. Or so he thought, because the bombs exploded. By a miracle, Dios finds an air socket in the room Anja was in. Unrealistic, I know, but this is a monster romance. What did you expect? Don't search for logic and just enjoy the ride. She is alive, but hurt. Her robot is destroyed, and she seems to have lost completely hearing capability. The general is also still alive. She orders Dios to finish him, although she doesn't have to say anything. This was all he has always wanted to do. With bare hands, he crushed his skull. Everything is over. Alpha is dismantled, and with the materials taken from the city and the help of Mira, Ace, and the Anodyne brothers, they built a second dome for Anja to live in. Anja is free. Like Debbie! Free! She is by her mate's side with a new place to call home. They are together and the future seems bright. The end. Dililing. This is a 3-book series. This is the second one actually, and although they are independent from each other, they still contain some spoilers from the previous one. I would recommend to read them in order if you are interested and don't want to eat some spoilers by reading the last one. Anyways, this was fun. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video. In probably 3 months from now. Bye bye!